Sairam class, how are you all? I hope that you all are very fine. So class, today we will start our new chapter, chapter number 5, which is lines and angles. Now, as name refers that in this chapter we will gonna learn about various lines and angles formed with the help of lines. So, let's get started with our first topic, which is line segment. Now, line segment is very much identical to all of us that we know a line segment has two end points. That means there is a line and it has both the end points. Means no end point can be extended. It is fixed within the length of its own length. Okay, now you can see an example of PQ. It is a line segment. You can see that in P as well as in Q side we have dots, and this dots refers that this line could not be extended from any of the end points. Now, how we can represent a line segment? Here you can see that we have P and Q as its endpoints. So we write it as PQ. But we have to put or make a small line segment on the PQ so that it easily understandable that PQ is a line segment. That means PQ with a line with two dots on both the endpoints represents that PQ is a line segment. Okay, now you will gonna learn more clearly about this when we discuss our next topic, which is line. Now we all know that line segment have two endpoints, but in case of line, both the endpoints could be extended. Okay, that is why we have arrow on its both the endpoints. Arrow represents that we can extend it endlessly. Okay, let's see on its definition that if we extend two endpoints in either direction endlessly, either direction means any of its endpoint, then we can call it as a line. So that means a line has no end point because both of its side could be extended endlessly. That is why we could not call them as end point, because line is not ending on these point, it could be extended endlessly. Now you can see here an example of a line which is AB having arrows on both of its side. Now how we can represent a line? So here you can see as it has A and B on both of its side, so we can write it as AB. But as in case of line segment, we learned that we have to put a line segment on above the alphabets. That means, for example, here we have PQ, so we have to put a line segment above PQ. Similarly, in case of line, what we will do? We will put a small line with two arrows on both of its side, which represents that it is a line. You can see here AB with a line having arrow on both of its sides means AB is a line which could be extended from both the sides endlessly. Okay, now I hope that it is clear to you that how we can represent the name of a line and line segment. Similarly, we have a case with ray. Now let's first of all focus on the definition of ray, that a ray has one endpoint And from other side of ray we can extend it endlessly. Means ray is a combination of line segment and line, in which on one side we have a end point as we have in line segment, whereas on the other side we have a arrow, which means we can extend that line from that side endlessly as we have in line. So arrow could be of two types, one in which arrow is on its right side and other in which arrow is on its left side. Now how we can represent a ray? So let's focus on this ray. We have PQ in which arrow is in the side of P. So while representing its name, we put dot on that side where we have dot, means as in this case we have dot in O, so we put dot on O side, and we have P on its, we have arrow in its P side, so we put arrow towards P. Now look at another ray in which we have O and Q. So you can see here we have arrow on the side of Q, that is why we put arrow towards Q and dot towards O. Okay, so you have to be very careful while you have to represent or write name of a line segment or ray. Now our next topic is angle. So let's first define what is an angle. An angle is formed when lines or line segments meet. Now what is that means? So suppose we have two line segments and we make it or meet them in such a way, so we have an angle in between them. Similarly, when we take a line and we intersect them, when we take two lines and we intersect them, we have four angles which formed with the help of these two lines. You can see in this figure also that how a line and line segment helps or form angles. Here with the help of three line segments we have three angles, and here with the help of two lines we have four angles. Okay, now the another important point is the point of intersection called vertex, means where these lines or line segment meet, we have called that point vertex. For example, in this, where these two line segments are meeting, then this point where they are intersecting is called vertex, and vertex is the place where from where we can identify or define that what measure of angle it is. Okay, similarly here this point A and this point C is the vertex. Now in this case we have O as a vertex for all the four angles. Now let's move on to another topic. Now we have two important relative angles in this chapter. The first one is complementary angles and the second one is supplementary angles. So let's focus on complementary angles first. So its definition is when the sum of measures of two angles is 90, means when we added two angles, exactly two, okay, and their sum is 90 degree, then these angles are called supplementary angles, means they are called supplementary for each other. Now it is complementary. Okay, so now let's move on to supplementary. So as in the case of complementary angle, we have 90 degree. So in case of supplementary angle, the sum of two angles should be 180. Then we call these angles as supplementary angles. Okay. Again, complementary angles means when the sum of measures of two angles is 90 degree, then these angles are called complementary angles. And in case of supplementary angle, the sum should be 180 degree. Okay, don't get confused. Let's repeat one by one with examples. Now you can see here we have two pairs of angle. The first one is 30 with 60 and the second one is 35 with 65. When we add 30 with 60, we get 90 degree, and when we add 35 with 65, we get 100 degree. So on the basis of definition of complementary angles, when the sum of two angles is 90, then they are known as complementary angles. That means this pair of angle is complementary, whereas this pair of angle is not complementary. Now let's focus on what is given below, that whenever two angles are complementary, each single angle means from one of them, each of the angle is said to be complement of the other angle. That means in this example, 60 degree is the complement of 30 degree and 30 degree is complement of 60 degree angle. Okay. Similarly, it is again given in below. Now, after complementary, let's focus on supplementary. Here you have two pairs of angles. The first one with 180, the second one with 135 and 45. So when we added them, we get 180 degree, because 100 plus 80 is 180. Whereas when we add them, we get 180. So we can say that both the given pairs are supplementary angles. Now when two angles are supplementary, then each of the angle is said to be supplement of the other. That means 80 is supplement for 100 degree and 100 degree is supplement for 80 degree. Whereas in another pair, 135 is supplement for 45 degree and 45 degree is supplement for 135 degree. I hope you all are very clear that complementary angles in which sum of measure of two angles is 90, and whereas in supplementary when the sum of measures of two angle is 180. Now let's move on to another topic, which is adjacent angles. Now here the term itself refers that adjacent means angles which is beside each other. So let's see what kind of other things or situations should be in between adjacent angles. The first one is they have common vertex. Now we all know that what is vertex. Vertex means where two lines or line segment intersect to form an angle. Here in this figure, vertex is this point, and in this figure we have this point as vertex. Now second situation is they have a common arm, means adjacent angles are those which have one arm common in between them. Here you can see that in this figure, this arm is common in between angle 2 and angle 1. Similarly, in this figure, this arm is common in between angle 2 and angle 1. Now, the third situation is the non-common arms are on either side of the common arm. Means, here we can see that in given figures, this and this arm is non-common arm. So these non-common arms should be either side of the common arm. Means if it is a common arm, so these two uncommon arms should be on the either side. Mean one arm should be on the left side, so other arm should be on the right side. Okay. So here we can easily see that yes, the two uncommon arm are on the either side of the common arm. Similarly in this figure also. So given figures are the example of adjacent angle. So these 3 points are very important to prove two angle whether they are adjacent or not. Means all the 3 points should be followed, only then they are known as adjacent angle, not one, not two, all the 3 points. Okay. So let's move on to our next topic, which is linear pair. Now, the term is itself refers, linear means a line, pair means the group of two. Now, let's focus on its definition, that linear pair is a pair of adjacent angle. Means in linear pair, angles are likely to be adjacent and whose non-common side are opposite rays. Opposite rays means the non-common arm should make a straight line. Let's read further. In first example, observe that the opposite rays, now these are the opposite rays, which are, and they are also the non-common arms for angle, means for this adjacent figure in which angle 1 and angle 2 we have. And when we add angle 2 and angle 1, we get amount 180. So indirectly, linear pair means group of two angles. When we add them, we get a sum of 180 degree. Okay, now here you can see when we add angle 2 and angle 1, we get 180 because their sum making a straight line, which means 180 degree. Whether in another figure there is no straight line, means non-common sides are not opposite rays, that means it is not a linear pair. Now read further in the last, the angles in the linear pair are supplementary. Here you can see in the last, the angles in a linear pair are supplementary, and we know that supplementary means when we add two angles, their sum should be 180, then they are known as supplementary. Okay. Now the last topic is vertically opposite angle. Now you can see in this figure that when two lines intersect each other, then we have four angles. Okay. Now read its definition. When two lines intersect, the opposite angles are termed as vertically opposite angle to each other. Opposite angles means angle 3 is opposite for angle 1. That means angle 1 and 3 are making vertically opposite angle. Similarly, angle 4 and angle 2 are opposite to each other. That means 2 and 4 together are making vertically opposite angle. Again, you can see 1 is on the opposite side of 3. That means angle 1 makes with angle 3 the pair of vertically opposite angles. Similarly, angle 4 and angle 2 are making another pair of vertically opposite angle. Now the another important thing in vertically opposite angles is vertically opposite angles so formed are equal, means vertically opposite angles are equal to each other. So we can say that angle 1 equals to angle 3. Similarly, angle 2 equals to angle 4. Okay. This is the very important point, that vertically opposite angles are equal to each other. Now we will do our exercise 5.1 on the basis of all three topics what we have discussed so far. So our first question is, find the complement of each of the following angle. First of all, recall what is complementary angles. Complementary angles are those when we add them we get a sum of 90 degree. Okay, so first we have angle 20. So let's find out its complementary. So when the sum of two angles is 90, then each angles are said to be complement of each other. That means angle 20, when we add angle 20 with another angle, then sum should be 90 degree. That means that angle should be 90 minus 20, which is 70 degree. That means complement of 20 degree is 70 degree angle. Okay, similarly we can do another part of this question. That means for 63 degree, how we can find its complementary? Its sum with its complementary should be 90. That means that complementary of 63 is 90 minus 63. Okay, similarly in case of 57, the complementary of 57 means the sum of 57 with its complementary should be 90. That means its complementary is 90 minus 57 degree. Okay. Now our next question is, in this question we have to find the supplement of given angles. So let's recall first that what is supplementary angles, in which when we add them we get a sum of 180 degree. So let's see how we can do its solution. So we have given 105 and the sum of two angles is 180, then the angle said to be supplement to each other. So when we add 105 with its supplement, the sum should be 180. So its supplement is 180 minus 105, which is 75. Okay, means we just have to minus the given angle with 180 to get its supplement. Now let's see how we can do the other parts. For 87, how we can find its supplement? By just subtract 87 from 180 we get its supplement. Similarly for 154, we have to minus 154 from 180 and we get its supplement. Okay, now the third question is, identify which of the following pair of angle are complementary and which are supplementary. So for this we just have to add them, whose sum will be 90, they are complementary angles, and those sum will be 180, they are supplementary angles. So here you can see that how we can do it. We just have to add them. So in first part we have 65 and 150. So when we add it, we get 180 as their sum, and we know that the sum of given angle is 180. So they are supplementary angles. Whereas in second part we have 63 and 27. So when we added, we get 90 as their sum, and so we know that when we have 90 degree as the sum of two angles, they are known as complementary angles. Okay, now the other parts can be done easily, we just have to add them. So the next question is, find the angle which is equal to its complement. Okay, now complementary angles are whose those sum is 90 degree. So we have to find such kind of angle when we add that angle with itself we get 90 degree as their sum. So let's see how we can do it. Here you can see that it is the solution for question number 4. the sum of two angles is 90 degree, then each the angle is known as complement to the another one. So let's take that angle as x. So when we add x with itself, we get 90 degree because we want that angle whose sum with itself is complementary angles. So now we just have to solve this equation. So x plus x will be 2x equals to 90. Then this 2 goes to another side of equal in denominator and divide 90 degrees. So when we divide 90 degree with 2, we get 45 as answer. That means 45 is that angle. When we added 45 with 45, we get these complementary angles. That means 45 is that angle which is equal to its complementary. Similarly, we have to find for supplementary, and this is our question number 5, that find the angle which is equal to its supplementary. So it is also very easy. So first of all, we have to write down that what is supplement. So sum of two angles is 180, then each angle is said to be supplement to the another. So let's take x. So when we add x with x, the sum should be 180, okay, according to our situation, because we have to find such an angle which is equal to its supplement. So again we have to solve this. We get x plus x equals to 2x, and then this 2 goes to another side of equal in denominator and divides 180. So when 180 divided by 2, we get 90 as value of x. That means 90 is equal to its supplement. Okay. That means when we add 90 with itself, it will become the supplementary angles. Now the next question is, in given figure, angle 2 and angle 1 are supplementary angles. Means when we add them, we get a sum of 180 degree. So the situation is, if angle 1 is decreased, what changes should be taken in angle 2 so that both the angle still remains supplementary? Means the situation will remain as a straight line, but what happens when we decrease angle 1? What changes will be in place of angle 2? Okay, so let's see what should be its solution. So this is the solution for question number 6, that it is given that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary angles. Then if angle 1 is decreased, angle 2 will increase with same measure by which angle 1 decrease, so that the angle still remains supplementary. That means if we decrease angle 1 by angle 1 by degree 5 degree, so inside of angle 2 there will be a increment of 5 degree angle. Okay, we can see here that we have a situation that there are two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, and they are making supplementary angles. So when we decrease angle 1, means when we decreasing it, suppose it is 80 degree right now and it is 100 degree right now. Okay, so when we decrease it by 10 degree, means it will become 70 degree. So on the other side there will be an increment of 10 degree, it will become 110. Now when you add them, it also 180, means supplementary angles. Okay, means how much decrement in angle 1, there will be that much increment on the side of angle 2, so that they will remain supplementary. Okay, so class, This is all for today. We will continue our exercise first in our next class. Thank you for today.